Welcome to Showcase Live. We are here on day 3 on Saturday at Deland Sport Aviation Showcase 2019. And it is a chilly one out here, but we're here with a really hot-looking airplane, so maybe we'll warm up a little bit. And I'm speaking with Dwayne Swing, who's CEO of Velocity Aircraft. And Dwayne, hey, I tell you, welcome to the show again. And I think this is going to be a fun day, even though we have a little bit of cold air and low ceilings.
Cold is not a problem with me, I can tell you. I'm from northern Indiana, so I'm used to it.
So you guys are used to that, that's for sure. You know, Dwayne, we're standing in front of what I think is one of the slickest looking aircraft out there. And also, I've never flown one, but I hear it's really fun to fly. So for those that don't know what a Velocity is, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the Velocity is an offshoot of the Route 10 design, long easy, very easies. The main important thing when Route 10 designed the canard type airplane, which means the elevator system is in the front, it was to solve a problem that the government and our aviation community has addressed for years, and that is stall spin. With the elevator in the front, the incident angle of that canard is higher than the incident angle of the wing. Therefore, the canard stalls, the wing does not. When you have that scenario going on, you eliminate spins.
So no stall?
You can't stall it, and if you can't stall it, you can't spin it. And that's the whole secret. Eliminating all of those stall spin accidents was Route 10's reason for putting the canard in the front of the airplane.
So going back, how many years ago was this original design?
Original Velocity came, actually the corporation was set up in 1986. The original long easy aircraft was built by Danny Mayer, one of his aircraft, and he wanted a 4-place version. Therefore, he lofted the airplane and just made everything bigger to become a 4-place airplane. And then a lot of refinement was done before it was ever put on the market, especially with the canard, because instead of having to lift one person in the front seat, now we have to lift 2. And to do that, the elevator becomes a Fowler flap, which gives that elevator a whole lot more lift capacity, so we can put 2 250-pounders in the front seat and still fly the airplane very easily.
Wow, and it's roomy.
That was the big change from the Route 10 design, was the change in the elevator design.
Quite roomy.
A lot of other things. It's a much more comfortable airplane to get in and out of. It's like getting into an SUV with these large doors, which is a change from the original. It's a larger airplane by 6 inches in width and a foot in length from the original. So there's a lot of changes over the years. Of course, we now have a twin-engine version. It's got a conventional tail on it, so it doesn't quite look the same as the standard Velocity with the winglets, but it also creates the proper yaw stability that we need for a twin.
So you have the same critical engine issues as you will with other twins?
Exactly. Okay. Well, it's not critical anymore. We can pull the airplane up into a full stall with one engine shut down, and then canard will stall and pitch up and down, but it will not lose directional control, even though one engine is wide open and the other one is just idling, which is a big plus factor.
Incredible safety feature.
It is.
Nice and wide. The other thing, too, is the fact that it's fast. And so let's talk a little bit about performance for those people out there that are interested in something that's going to travel with.
Over the years, different engines options have been available. This particular airplane that we're looking at has a 310 horsepower Continental TSIO 550. It's turbocharged. And it'll give us a speed at 18,000 feet of about 250 knots. We took some videos of the airplane coming back from Oshkosh at 20,000 feet, 75%, 271 knots. So it's a very fast airplane with that turbocharged engine. Non-turbo, you're looking at a 200-plus knot range at 8,000 feet.
That's still terrific. I mean, most people don't have that type of speed in their aircraft. How about as far as difference in flying? I'm sure you get a lot of questions from people that are pilots of some traditional aircraft, the Cessnas and the Pipers. How does this differ?
Well, the main thing is you have to unlearn some things that you may have learned in flying a Cessna or Piper or one of those other aircraft. Because, first of all, we have no flaps. So altitude is a critical item, and you control altitude with the throttle. Obviously, if you pull the throttle back, you're going to come down. But people who have been flying conventional aircraft with flaps, they'll add more flaps if they want to come down. We don't have flaps. So if you push the nose over on this thing, almost within seconds, you're going 20, 30 knots faster than you want to. So you got to manage speed control on landing. That's the main thing. That's the difference. It operates the same. Elevator, when you come back, it goes up. When you push forward, it goes down. Right and left, it's all the same.
So if I'm going to transition to this, about how many hours would I need if I'm a somewhat experienced pilot in a 172?
We have a transition training program. Our CFI will work with that pilot, and the first order of business is to eliminate some of the characteristics of a Cessna versus a Velocity. And this is a 5-hour flight program and 5 hours of ground school program. So we teach you a lot, especially second owners of our aircraft, and there are a ton of those. They have no clue is what they bought, and so we have to, and that's what the ground school does. It allows the pilot to understand how the gear system works, how the elevator system works, the characteristics that are different. By the time we're done, the pilot is ready for then the flight training, and that's a minimum of 5 hours. By that time, we're pretty comfortable that he's going to know everything he needs to know. And of course, a lot of that is up to the pilot and the insurance companies. The insurance companies dictate an awful lot of the training necessary, and they may say, "Hey, you don't have any time in a retractable airplane." Normally, they require 100 hours. In this case, they may say, "Give us 10 hours of dual in a retractable gear aircraft, and then we'll cover you on insurance." So there are some differences, and it might take longer for a guy who doesn't have any retract time if he's flying a retract aircraft. Fixed gear, it's usually not a problem.
Interesting. So would you suggest people get some retract time before they transition?
It would work. Yes, it would work, especially with the insurance. I mean, if you want to fly fast and get that gear out of the way, getting some time in a Piper Arrow or something like that will help with the insurance. Because if you can say, I've got 10 hours of retract time and I'm going to get 10 hours into Velocity, chances are they'll insure you.
How about price points? What are we looking at here price-wise?
Well, the kits, depends on which kit. We have 3 different models. The SE, which you see over there, the XL, which you see here, and the V-twin. They'll price from about $42,000 without any fast builds. The XL would be $52,500 with no fast builds. Add all the fast builds, and this one would be in the $90,000, $95,000 range, and that would be in about the $60,000 range. That fast build eliminates about 1,000 hours of build time.
So for people that are new to the experimental, explain a little bit about the fast build and why that's a benefit.
Okay. A lot of our builders have never built anything. Most of them have not. And there is a learning curve involved, and we're building an aircraft. What we do is we do a lot of the building for them before they get their kit. And they've been approved by the FAA under the 51% rule. And what that entails is that we will pre-build the wings, we'll pre-build the canard, we'll do all the finish work up to primer, we'll cut out the ailerons, we'll cut out the rudders. The builder, as far as control surfaces and wings and canard is concerned, has to install them. They put in the hinges, they put in the bell cranks. Fuselage comes normally in 2 halves, top and bottom. On our fast build, we put that together. We put the windows in it, the windshield, we install the doors, we put the landing gear on it, put all the bulkheads in it. So from the day you get it, you can wheel it around on the gear, put it in your garage, 2-car garage, start working. Put the hard points in for the seats, and 2 days later, you can make airplane noises. It just speeds up the process, and it gives that builder the chance to get a head start on the program, which also we have what's called a head start program, where the new builder will come in and we will work with him for 2 weeks and give him very intense training working on his own airplane with one of our technicians for a 2-week period. During that period of time, we'll do everything that we need to get that builder comfortable with the building of his airplane.
Well, that sounds like a great deal for somebody who's new to this, that's for sure, to building their first aircraft. Because to me, this might be a big jump, but if I have some support, I think that's terrific. Speaking of support, after we build, continued support, what can they get from Velocity?
You'll get all the support you need, and it's free. If you bought the kit from us, you'll get that support forever. And we do that all the time. The phone is always ringing from a builder who's got a problem of some sort, and he can't figure it out, and then that's what we do. We help that builder through that process. That's especially true with a second owner who has very little knowledge of how that airplane was built. And we want to help him also. We have a regular transition program for the second, third owner of our airplanes, and they have the same access to us as a original buyer of that airplane. So we'll help them through any problem they may have. And believe me, that consumes a ton of our time every day, because a second owner, third owner of this airplane may have silly little problems we consider silly, but he's not familiar with the airplane and he doesn't know how to correct them. So we help him through those processes.
Well, that's terrific. You know, I'm looking inside the aircraft right now. This is a cross-country airplane, no doubt.
Yes.
How about avionics? Traditionally, what are people putting in these?
Most of them have Dynon or Grand Rapids equipment in them. Very few are built today with round gauges because everybody wants the most modern. We have switched over for our own aircraft and for anybody that's coming in for avionics work to the Garmin G3X almost across the board. We've sent our technician to the Garmin school so we can do a complete wiring installation of the Garmin system, including the displays and the radios. And it's worked out well for us. We have a backlog of people who want us to convert their round gauges to the glass panel stuff.
I can imagine. I'm looking inside right now. Boy, that looks just absolutely wonderful.
Well, yeah, we do a lot of things that are different. I'm an old-time pilot, been around for a long time flying airplanes. And what I always was marveled at is the number of circuit breakers they put on the panel of an airplane. And I said, okay, why do I put them on the panel? Just because I can see them? You know, I don't need them on there. So we put them under the armrest. If you lift that armrest up, it's full of circuit breakers. So if you got a problem, you go open that up and see exactly what's going wrong. So we do as little on the panel as we can. If you look up on the top, you'll see a bunch of switches. I keep the switches off the panel. Yeah. If you don't need the switch other than to start the engine, why do you put it down here where it's in the way? So we minimize the amount of ergonomic problems that you'll have in most aircraft by, with the FAA not being a serious problem for us, we can put switches where we feel that they're best able for the pilot to access and to use.
Well, it's ergonomical, it's sleek looking, it's gorgeous, it's velocity, it's fast, and from everybody I know that flies it, they're very excited to get in it. So I really, hats off to the design and also the fact that you've continued to move forward with that design and also in supporting.
Well, we always got programs underway. We've now got a turbine-powered twin-engine version that we should be finishing sometime after the first of the year. It'll be very fast in the 300-knot category. It'll be capable of flying to 25,000 feet. We don't pressurize it, so it would be with oxygen. We also have stretched the fuselage. We've made the molds, and we will someday be producing a 6-seat, 7-seat version, especially of our twin, because we get calls all the time for people who say, can you make it bigger? Can you make it bigger? I got 4 kids. Okay, well, we can.
So if somebody is watching right now online and they want to find out more about the Velocity, how can they find out more?
Well, the easiest way is to go online. It's velocityaircraft.com. A lot of information is available on that website. We're in the process of redoing our entire website because the original website designer is gone now, and he has taken all of the access information with him. Oh, no. So we have not been able to make changes. So we're having to redo the entire thing. But that's the easiest way to get started with who we are. There's phone numbers in there you can call. And my son and I and my grandson all work for the company. Their information is in there, so they can email them direct if they like. They can email me. I get 30 emails a day, usually. 3/4 of which I dump in the trash because they're junk. And the rest of them I answer. I never let an email go more than a day without answering it, because most of these guys that are interested, they want their answers now. And I get comments all the time. You know, I emailed your competitor and I never got an answer. Well, I don't want that said about Velocity. We're going to stay on top of that.
Something to be said about great customer service. And how about if I want to fly the aircraft, maybe try it out either today, but in general?
In general, we have a 5-day-a-week program where you can come to our place in Sebastian, Florida, where it's a lot warmer than it is here. Not a lot. And you can take a ride in our SE model, which is the smaller of the three aircraft, the TXL, which is this one, or our V-twin. They have their choice, and if they're going to think about building a V-twin, they certainly want to take a ride in one to see how it reacts. We went with AOPA on a program of a test flight with their main fella, and he said, I did things in the Velocity twin that I would never even consider doing in any other conventional twin-engine airplane, because it won't stall. Right. Therefore, you shut one engine down, leave the other one at idle, and pull the stick back until it quits flying, and it won't roll over. It just bobs up and down. So those are some of the things that you can do at our place. And we don't normally do the demo rides at air shows because of the liability issue that crops up all the time. But we do it at our place all the time. And it's simple that we have no tower, so we can also take the guy through our plant, show how we build these parts. We always have 2 or 3 aircraft under construction so they can see the process in which it takes to build the airplane. And that's a big plus for a builder who says, how do I do this? And they can see. They can talk to our customers who are there building their airplanes. And we have a lot that stay the entire time. They come in for the 2-week program and they say, this is pretty good. I'm going to rent a house here and you're going to help me build my airplane. And that happens all the time.
What better place than Sebastian? Boy, it's such a pretty area. If someone's coming in from out of town, are there airports that are around where they would fly into?
The closest would be Melbourne. And I think US Air, which is also American, and Delta fly out of Melbourne, or Orlando, which is an hour and 15-minute drive. Sure. And that makes it convenient. Usually at Orlando, you can go anywhere out of Orlando, unless the kids are out of school, in which case you may not get a ticket.
Well, Dwayne, this has been great talking to you. Is there anything else you want to mention about the Velocity?
No, I think we've covered enough. I appreciate you going through all the trouble of doing this.
I normally wouldn't interfere with Carl because Carl's the best interviewer we got. But as a builder and stuff, I've got questions.
That's
so
my job.
I'm going to take over for a quick second. Thanks, Carl. But you can come back to do the ending. Okay, anyway, so first thing I notice is it looks like a motorcycle Scott steering dampener on the wheel, and that is an awesome idea.
That is exactly what it is. We've modified it in order to allow the nose wheel to completely swivel. So
that's awesome.
Deep notch in there, and it'll access the notch when the nose gear comes around to a straight and level position again. But it takes care of that dampening that we need to eliminate shimmy.
Yeah, I've flown a lot of airplanes with caster nose wheels, and I got to tell you, that is a great idea. I don't know why I never thought of that. I'm a motorcycle guy.
Okay, you know what it's like then.
Yeah, so my next question is, and you might answer this with Carl, and I missed it, so I'm sorry if that's the case, but the kits have all the composite basically already built, or when you build one of these, you got to actually lay the glass and the epoxy.
Some flat panels that you need to make, like baffles for the fuel system and sort. But most of the items that you're looking at are pre-molded. So these are pre-molded. There's a top, bottom, right, and left, and they lap like this in the front. But it's these fuel cells. The main area where the builder has to spend some time, if they don't build the fast build, is the wings. They're built in a conventional manner like Rutan designed. We pre-mold the spar, we pre-cut all the foam cores. The builder at home, if he didn't get the fast builds, would put those foam cores onto the spar and then use glass over top of them, top and bottom. It's easy to do, and it's easy to understand the process, and it's not very time consuming, but it's something that the builder would have to do if he doesn't get the fast builds. But everything else, almost everything you see on this airplane is pre-molded. So there isn't a lot of making of parts. It's an assembly process.
All right, I've been to your website, although it's been a while. It's an amazing airplane, and I love Rutan's my favorite designer, so I mean I'm attracted to these aircraft. But that's what I was just curious about, because it looked to me like most of the structural parts are already pre-done, and if you go out and you look at like used home builds, there's always a concern with maybe the thickness and stuff of some of the parts and just how well it was layered to begin with. So if that stuff, some of those parts are done at the factory, I think that should make you feel pretty good about buying one of these for sure.
As long as the builder follows the plans, this aircraft is very strong. It was designed around a plus 12 and minus 12 G factor. We've never had a structural failure, in-flight failure. If you run into a mountain, obviously that's not a problem with the airplane. So it's an extremely strong airplane, and the majority of the kind of accidents we see are fender bender type. Somebody forgets something and he runs his wing into the hangar while he's putting it away or whatever. Easy to repair, however, very simple.
Nice. It's an amazing aircraft, so I really appreciate your time.
Sure.
I'm going to hand it back over to Carl to finish, and thanks for letting me interrupt, Carl. I'm sorry.
No, that was some great information. Thanks. And, our mechanic had to run up here and ask a question. One more question, though.
It's like a glove box or something. I noticed you guys got stuff in there. That's awesome. I love that.
You got this baggage compartment.
Look, there's stuff in the inlet. It's not an inlet.
The baggage is back here. It's there because there's a glass layup. These are carbon beams in here for roll protection. And there's glass that goes from here around this beam into the fuel cell. And that creates a cavity. Well, why just leave it open? Why close it off? We'll use it we can put a couple of quarts of oil in there or anything you want to put in there. But it's just extra little storage.
I love it. Every little piece, every little space is being used. It's terrific. Well, Dwayne, boy, I tell you, this has been great talking to you. A lot of really good information. Of course, you can find more at your website. If you're here today, if you're going to come by to Deland, of course, stop by their booth. But in general, I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Sebastian to hang out with you folks?
Yeah, everybody would. It's a nice place, especially if you're a fisherman or a golfer. We're on the golf course. Our airport is on the golf course. Or I should say the golf course is on the airport. And it's probably the fishing capital of Florida. So you got a lot of things going on there.
Golf, fishing, airplanes. You can't beat all that. Dwayne Swing with Velocity Aircraft, and we really appreciate your time to speak about the aircraft. You can see more on their website. Also, don't forget, we're streaming this live, but you can download this later. If there's something here that you heard that you want to go back and listen to again, go to the Facebook page, and you can actually stream it there, download it. Also, we have a YouTube channel, and that's at YouTube and Deland Sport Aviation Showcase. You can find this video there. And I really appreciate a shout out to all the folks that are the hardworking folks here at the Showcase Live. We hope you're enjoying this coming live from the Deland Sport Aviation Showcase, which is the Affordable Aircraft Showcase. Tom Frick on the camera, and also Mike Daniels and Elizabeth Daniels. Thanks so much for all she's doing with the social media, and of course Dave Schalbetter, Roy Brewer, and all the other team here at the Deland Showcase Live. Well, this is Carl Valeri with Showcase Live, reporting right here in front of the Velocity. And it's cold, but I can see the sun coming out, and I'm really excited for the rest of the day. Don't forget, you're going to see more videos, takeoffs and landings, and the STOL demonstration that's going to be here, Show Center.